Jordan Palmer here on the Rich Eisen Show. And if you just said it's not a prediction. I mean, you're pretty damn good at calling your shot. Certainly on this program, because a couple years ago, after Joe Burrow last year, Joe Burrow gets hurt. You're like, Jake Browning is not going to just flop. Keep an eye on him. And I think he won a lot of people some fantasy leagues if they were able to jump on him. And then you were also saying earlier in training camp, don't sleep on Sam Darnold as a Viking, and we saw what he was able to do. What would you counsel Sam Darnold to do? Where do you think would be best for him in the coming weeks of this crucial juncture?
I mean, my honest advice would be to trust your instincts, because he has such exposure to the league now. He's played in 4 organizations.
Right.
He's been on good teams and bad teams. He's had multiple coaches, and so I don't know that somebody at that point needs advice on you should go to this place. But, I just think everyone's trying to find their quarterback, right? And it's tricky in Minnesota, right? Because they draft JJ, and then Sam, really created – I look at it like a business, what Sam did. So what Sam did, you can go, okay, he did these stats, and they won this game, that's fine. I look at it like they paid him $10 million, and he played like a top 5 quarterback, statistically speaking.
No doubt.
Wherever you rank him, whatever, top 5. So if you took the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks, which is essentially the franchise tag, right? You'd say what, 45, 50 million? That's what that is?
Yes.
50, because we got guys making 60, okay?
Yeah, I think, in the 50s, low 50s to mid 50s
would be what that number is. I'm not saying his contract moving forward. I'm saying that number would be 50.
Right.
Okay? So what you did is they invested $10 million and they got $40 million delta in return. So think about it as a business. Somebody owes somebody something. If you invest money in my thread performance and I give you a 5X, I better get a good bottle of something, right? And so with Sam, it's proven it works. I don't know. There's other places that could be better. But I just thought it was such a good marriage. Kevin O'Connell and him were a good marriage. That locker room. I mean, you saw the game that he becomes the first guy to win 14, and they jump. In the locker room, and they're throwing waters and it
was amazing.
Did you see any of those? Anyone else? Did that happen again this year? Did we get that on? And their video and everything in the locker rooms, right? So that was the one time we saw that this year?
I mean, this was an amazing moment. And also Kevin O'Connell standing there with his arms folded, just watching it play out like a proud dad.
And he's a father of 4. I thought he was watching his 5th kid.
Exactly. And just proud and letting the guys have their moment, and then Sam having this moment. But this was also his last great moment of the year. So how would you respond to people who are like, this is his ceiling? Sam just showed you where his ceiling is when he's taking on a competitor in a playoff, in a winner-go-home type game. How do you respond to something like that?
Unfortunately, this is a friend. I'm not going to call him out, but this happens. And file this one away as you call games.
Sure.
And I've called games before. You got to get it right. I heard Troy kept saying he's got to get rid of the ball. I watched the tape. He's going from number 1 to number 2 and getting hit. Now, there was definitely, I think, 1 or 2 plays, and one of the games totally took a sack, right? But when that becomes the narrative, and then you go into an off season, you start to fan flames that were like, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? They got whooped up front. He could have played better. The defense gave. I don't know. I thought the Vikings lost. You start splitting that blame up from my perspective. I go, okay, here, and here. You know what I mean? Across the board. So I don't think either of those games were this guy threw 4 picks. And so I don't know that the narrative changed. I look at the whole thing and I go, okay, statistically speaking, at the end of the year, he played like one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the game. So that's how I look at it. I know I'm drinking Kool-Aid here and I'm biased, but objectively, that's what I look at, the body of work. And, the Lions had a great plan and they just completely whooped them. And then the Rams kind of copied that plan from what I saw going back and watching the tape and crossing the guard's face to loop the 3. It was a lot of the same things that worked 2 weeks in a row. And unfortunately, the timing of it and the narrative around it. But I think, what does everybody think of Sam Darnold? If you ask the media and then you ask the Vikings locker room, I think you're getting very different answers.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.